Alright everyone, and welcome back to the Highland Collector YouTube channel. So way back in 2018, Hasbro released the first deluxe figures in the Black Series line, those being both the Gamorrean Guard and also Moloch. And this new category of figures, although more expensive, allowed Hasbro to release figures of larger Star Wars characters who would have been more expensive to produce, and were also too big for a standard box, hence the new bigger deluxe boxes. And in addition to this, they also started making souped up versions of characters, with a ton of extra accessories, which were also released under this deluxe branding, and will cost an extra £10 more than the standard mainline figure. And since their inception, we've gotten about 30 different deluxe releases, with many being some of the most incredible figures we've gotten in the Black Series so far. Think Return of the Jedi Boba Fett, Jar Jar Binks and Narlan Chill. On the other side of the spectrum, there are some which are so overpriced and incredibly underwhelming, they are currently on sale for less than a standard figure. But to quickly sum up deluxe figures, they are extremely hit or miss. Just depends whether or not Hasbro has put in the effort and the value is actually there. And although there was definitely a low point with all those Boba Fetts, recently we've gotten some really great ones revealed. Yet there are still so many characters who have potential to make such awesome Black Series figures that would only work if they were released as a deluxe figure. So today I will be going over my top 10 deluxe figures that Hasbro needs to make in the Black Series. And obviously the only criteria for this list is that the character would need to be released as a deluxe figure, and also be worth the extra price, meaning they would either have to be a bigger figure with more expensive and detailed molds, or come with a shit ton of extra accessories. And also I'll be doing this in no particular order in terms of how desperately I want Hasbro to release them, but it would make it easier if I just go movie by movie. So we're going to be starting with the Phantom Menace. Obviously the first new deluxe figure I'd love to see Hasbro make is none other than Boss Nass. And no, this is not a joke, I genuinely think he would make for an awesome figure, who would probably need to be deluxe due to his larger stature. And yes, whilst it would be great to get other deluxe Gungans to go with Jar Jar, such as Captain Tarpals, or even just a regular Gungan warrior, I went with Boss Nass as not only is he the leader of the Gungans, but he would also make for an incredibly unique figure, as he has some really nice detailed robes, and could also come with some great accessories like his staff and also the Globe of Peace, which we saw at the end of the film. Overall, although often considered a meme, I think Boss Nass would be a great addition to the Black Series line, and I think would sell way more than what Hasbro may think. Now for this next one, we're already on Attack of the Clones, and the deluxe figure from this film we really need to get is actually a remake, and that's a fully upgraded Jango Fett. Now you've probably already seen this amazing render by Star Wars The Black Series Concepts, and that's because it's just beautiful, as it is the ultimate Jango Fett action figure, and I'm honestly shocked Hasbro hasn't done this one yet, especially as it is so similar to what they've already done with the deluxe Return of the Jedi Boba Fett, which was insanely popular and is perhaps the greatest deluxe release of all time. I mean, all Hasbro needs to do is make a new Jango Fett that's actually up to date with today's standards, and include his jetpack, his iconic pistols, some of the cool flame pieces that came with the Boba Fett, give us a new soft goods poncho and call it a day, and it will sell like hotcakes. In fact, it will sell better than hotcakes. But although this is a genius idea that will take very little effort to do, Hasbro can't even be bothered to do that, as instead they've just released the Return of the Jedi Boba Fett on a card back. And furthermore, there's also rumours of a potential Gaming Greats Jango Fett re-release, not to mention the fact that pre-visual uses the old out-of-date Jango body, so unfortunately it looks like this updated Jango is still far away. But we can still dream, just like how I've been dreaming of an official Dexter Jetster in the Black Series. Another character who just makes perfect sense to release as a deluxe figure, and I think he would just look amazing. Obviously he would be wearing his greasy chef's outfit and would ideally come with a range of cooking utensils as accessories, and much like Jango, he would release under the Attack of the Clones line. However, I do think this figure would also suit a cool San Diego Comic-Con exclusive too, maybe something like the Cantina, where we get a small portion of the diner bar, in addition to Dexter, his waitress droid, and also in Episode 2 Obi-Wan as well. But all in all, I think Dexter is sorely needed in the Black Series. At this point, I don't care how we get him, we just need to get him. Next up, we have a character who's actually the same species as Jetster, albeit a little slimmer, but that's of course Jedi General Pong Krell from the legendary Darkness on Umbara arc. Krell is another basilisk we desperately need in the Black Series, as this guy is genuinely one of the greatest villains in not just the Clone Wars but in all of Star Wars, as he's just one of those characters you love to hate. And a 6-inch action figure of this guy would be so cool, as he would tower over the other Jedi Masters, with his 4 arms, 2 of which wielding double-bladed lightsabers. He would also make an epic inclusion to any clone trooper display as well. And like Dexter, his massive size and need for entirely new molds would be a reason for him being released as a deluxe figure. Hopefully we do see Hasbro make him soon, especially because they've been releasing so many other highly requested Clone Wars characters at the moment. But sticking with the Clone Wars though, this next character is not one I've seen too much demand for, yet it's still another cool villain I would personally love to see in the Black Series. and that's Admiral Trench, who is a really underrated separatist leader who first appeared during the blockade of Christophsis. However, I don't really want to see that version of Trench made. As cool as that could be, I instead want to see his awesome cyborg redesign we saw in Clone Wars Season 7. Dare I say it, but that could be a figure that could give Grievous and Vader a run for their money as the best Black Series cyborg. As Trench is not only a cool looking alien, but his golden mechanical limbs, his robes, and accessories like his cane could really make for a god tier action figure. Next up we actually have Clone Commander Cody, who we have seen in the Black Series twice before, once as an archive release. But I really like the idea of a deluxe release of Cody, in which we can finally get his head sculpt, and we can also see the inclusion of other accessories such as his jetpack, his binoculars, a ton of blasters including his 2 pistols, and obviously the sorely needed Palpatine hologram. And this would just be perfect for the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith. And although this may not seem like £30 worth of value at first glance, may I remind you that Hasbro has released deluxe figures with way less. And also I do think some sort of deluxe Clone Commander with a shit ton of accessories would be great. For example, if not Cody, then Neo or Bakara would be ideal, as they are 2 clones that we desperately need. And staying on topic of Revenge of the Sith, another character who would make for a great figure is the mighty Wookiee Chief Tarful, who unlike Chewbacca would most likely need to be released as a deluxe figure due to his bulkier size. He's more built like Chrysanthemum. Now we actually have an accurate black Chrysanthemum figure. I think Tarful could be coming soon, as he is one of the more important Wookiees, and would ultimately look great in the Black Series, especially with his armour and unique blaster rifle. Hopefully we also see Tarful made as a figure for Revenge of the Sith's 20th anniversary in 2025. And this next one is actually the only Gaming Greats figure I have on this list, and is a character from Fallen Order, who just so happens to be on Kashyyyk with Tarful, and that's the 9th sister. Now this would be the first Dewutin in the Black Series, and although it would be quite cool to get this guy from The Force Awakens, the 9th sister is just infinitely cooler, and would make for such an incredible yet intimidating figure, as her design is so evil and menacing. What I like the most about it is how her yellow skin would contrast with the shiny black Inquisitor armour, similar to the 4th sister, and with the inclusion of her awesome helmet with that sick red visor, the classic style Inquisitor lightsaber, this one could definitely make for such a class figure. And recently Hasbro has been releasing so many Black Series Inquisitors, they might as well just make the 9th sister as well, especially since now there are more Fallen Order figures on the way with that exclusive free pack. So yeah, hopefully we do see this one pretty soon as well. The penultimate character I would like to talk about today is surprisingly the only one from the original trilogy, which is strange because that is my favourite set of Star Wars films. But regardless, the one that I'd like to see most as a deluxe figure from the original trilogy is a Man-a-Man, one of the most famous and weirdest aliens from Jabba's palace. He's essentially just this giant lizard looking guy, and has made for some great figures in the past, just because he has such a cool design. With the inclusion of his staff topped with all the various skulls, it's no doubt he would make for an amazing Black Series figure as well. Fortunately I just don't know how likely he is to happen now, as the perfect time for Hasbro to release him has sadly gone, that being Return of the Jedi's 40th anniversary. Now there are many other aliens from Jabba's palace that I'd also like to see made into figures, including Elephant Mon, Yak Face, the Bomar monks, and I'm also going to include the Fat Bib Fortuna from Book of Boba Fett as well. But out of all of these, a Man-a-Man is my favourite, and he's the one I'd want to see in the Black Series the most, because again, I really love that design. With the yellows, the greens, the creepy red eyes, and also that smile. There's just something about him that just looks so cool. But finally we have made it to our final figure. Even though I said I wasn't going to be doing this in any particular order, I have saved the best till last because this is a good one. And it's the one, the only, Claude from The Rise of Skywalker. And yes, I have only chosen this one because of the memes. Though a rebel mechanic, Claude is only known for being a big screaming space slug. And that's why we love him. To the point where if I saw a Black Series figure of him, I would buy 5. He's just that cool. Anyway, that's my list of the top 10 Black Series deluxe figures I'd love for Hasbro to make. Let me know down below in the comments what you think of deluxe figures as a whole, and also which ones you want to see Hasbro make. But as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.